Good morning, everybody. It's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong. Thank you for watching this morning. I really appreciate it. I'm about to leave for work, so I don't have very long, but I did want to show you my December daily journal and give you an idea of what I'm going to be doing. First of all, the image zine will definitely be published by Monday, and that's in plenty of time for Christmas. I think it will have a lot of pretty images in it and hopefully quotations and things that we can use. First, let me just show you what I have so far for my December daily journal. I've been thinking pink. I love pink, and I love pink at Christmas time. I love Victorian Christmas ornaments. I think they are so beautiful. I've been going through my fabrics and pulling out things that are pink. I am hoping to make at least 4 more of these journals and get them in the shop pretty soon. They're fairly straightforward. They do have quite a bit of stitching. This is a heavy upholstery fabric on the outside that has pink in it. I'm, again, just going through scraps of fabric. Jay, you might have sent me this piece of fabric. I do appreciate every little thing. The strings on the outside are a little bit long right now. I went ahead and added a Christmas ornament that I found recently and I just absolutely love. It's not predominantly pink, but I think it's going to be fine once I put my other pink items on the journal. I have a key that keys tie into so many things, but it feels very Christmassy to think about having a house key and coming home, or a mail key and checking the mailbox for Christmas cards. This is just a little, like a cog, I guess, and I love steampunk Victorian sort of Christmas style, as I've already mentioned, so that is on there for that. I had this really beautiful scarf. It has a few more of these embroidered roses on it, so I'm probably going to cut those out and try to incorporate those. So let me show you the inside. I put this burlap fabric on the inside, and there are a couple of reasons. I wanted to lighten it up on the inside a little bit. The other thing is that I was thinking about Christmas traditions, and a lot of people celebrate the birth of Christ for Christmas, and he was born in a manger. It talks about there not being any room at the inn, and the manger is written about as being more crude, I guess, with the animals and probably just hay or straw for a bed. It does mention swaddling clothes, but just the roughness of this, that is representative of that. I've got the fabric. I've used this before. This is kind of like an interfacing fabric. It's not tagged at the top, so technically this could be 2 pockets, but this main pocket is definitely the one I wanted the most. This reminds me of cooking at Christmas, Baker's Dozen, all these little letters and numbers, and then this bright, really sort of boho fabric in the back. It reminds me of the Victorian Christmas ornaments, all the bright colors, how shiny they are. The journal itself is really straightforward. It's not a ton of papers. I wanted to have enough paper in here to make it somewhat chunky. I love that. I love it when a journal gets that way, but I also wanted it to be simple enough so that I'm not feeling overwhelmed with having to fill up so many pages. And I expect that this journal, it will get filled up. There are so many beautiful things at Christmas time. So many ads, tags off of things, Christmas cards that come in from people. And while we're going through here, let me just talk about some of the pages in here. There are tea-stained pages. There are pages from the children's circus book. This, again, I'm going to tie into traditions. There are different animals and different people throughout history. There are different stories, different plants that are all representative of Christmas. You know, I love to get off on a tangent when I'm doing a journal and go down a rabbit trail and do spreads that tie in things that I can go back and read and say, oh yeah, that's right, that's really interesting, and I didn't know that before now. I have a feeling this journal is going to be the same way. Some of these pages are from a book about decoupage, and it had the most beautiful Victorian looking decorations. Of course, the circus makes me think about children and Christmas. This makes me think, these pages from the decoupage book make me think about a home all decked out for Christmas you can just see how pretty the pictures are. That's a ham boiler that's been decoupaged. And then in the center, I've got this bright bird. I may trim this page down a little bit. In fact, I know I will, and I'm going to go ahead and do that so you can see that it's not a big deal if you have to do something like that. Journals are meant to be worked in. If something goes wrong, it's not the end of the world. Sometimes I feel like the more we work in a journal, the more layers, sometimes even repairs, it just makes it feel more and more used and loved. So there, that's going to be better to have that center page a little bit shorter, and I'm going to do the same to this one. I knew when I sewed the page in that it was a little bit awkward to have the one in the center be so large, but I went ahead and sewed my one signature in, and now I see that that feeling of intuition was correct, and that's going to be fine. I may cut down, let's cut down that as well, and this too. There we go. So just going back in the other direction, you can see the other sides of these pages, and there is so much room. Like, look at this. That's a screen in front of a hearth, in front of a fireplace, I mean. It's so beautiful. And more of the children's images. Oh, this is so funny. I thought this looks like where somebody measured to make sure Santa could get down the chimney. And one of the things that I was thinking about this morning with this journal before I walked out here to the shop is that you can't be afraid for things to be covered up. You know, make the base of your journal the way you want it, and then the layers are just going to add to it. Some of these things might get covered up, some of the children's pages. I'm not always into children's pages. I know a lot of them are beautiful. I particularly like ones that are Victorian. I like Kate Greenaway. I love Eloise Wilkin. She's not Victorian, but her images are so vintage. And I love anything Tasha Tudor. Those things appeal to me because they have an element of realism in them. I'm not always into little golden books or things like that. So the fact that I included some circus pages in here, it's really just representative of the playfulness of Christmas. This kangaroo is upside down on the other page. I turned it so that it's right side up if you look this way. Some of these pages are going to be completely covered up, and I think it's going to make a beautiful journal. You can see I haven't even trimmed these edges off yet. I'll do that now. So I've been asked what my plans are for Christmas. My plan is for a pink Christmas. I'm planning to journal every day. It's going to be focused on, of course, pink, Victorian, maybe some steampunk. Sometimes it just depends upon the images that I come across, and sometimes it depends upon the rabbit trail that I end up chasing. But I can tell you that I want this journal to be representative of different traditions, and it can be different types of Santa Claus, where they came from, different animals that represent Christmas, different foods, just anything like that. I hope that gives you an idea, though, of where I'm headed. I'll let these get all tangled up, and I'm going to have to untangle these. It's because I was bouncing around carrying too much at one time, and I was on my way out here, and I noticed that the FedEx truck was pulling into the driveway, and that sent me off in another direction, and I carried that package inside, and then the next thing you know, I've got charms that are tangled. I know we can get this untangled though. Just have to be patient. There we go. So let me see. And you know what? I might do something to this to keep it from getting tangled. What might that be, you ask? You can go back into the center and sew, just make 2 little holes and pull some kind of cord through or string and tie it on here to make it a little thicker, maybe something more satiny that's not going to tangle up as much as thread, but I'm not particularly worried about it. Once I'm done with it, it's going to be hanging on a shelf and it's not going to be tossed around or anything like that. I do plan to include a lot of bright trim in this, a lot of lace. I want this to be really fun and really full. By the end of Christmas, I want this thing to be all tricked out. So let me see, I have to leave in 4 minutes. So I'm going to stop now. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon.